Hello and welcome to Muse and Metrics. This is your host, Philippa Burgess.
Hello, everybody. So, this is Shruti Tiwari, and I happen to be a WTM Ambassador going on with the full form Women Techmakers Ambassador. And I've been serving this community for over three and a half years, somewhere around the same. And it's kind of inspiring and enlightening to be a part of such a great cause, and because I can see how we are revolutionizing and bringing the change in and around our being. Yeah. So by profession, I happen to be a content and product marketing manager. So I've been into the industry for over 7 years now, and so this is what I do. I mean, I would call it my bread and butter because this is something that I love being on. Surfing around LinkedIn, around TechCrunch, other websites like Yahoo Finance and all, like reading, staying up to date with everything that's happening in the industry, specifically e-commerce, fintech, and logistics. So this is where I would say my work area and the expertise, you may call it the technical part, and everything lies around. Yeah. Yes. So I would just like to take a few minutes and go back into the time. So how it all really started. So it happened as I was graduating with from bachelor. I graduated with bachelor's of technology, did my engineering, and was hoping to be a software developer, like core software developer. I happened to join a firm. I worked there as a developer, as a Java developer for around 6 to 7 months. And since I happen to have a lot of interest into, literacy and all these sorts of things like communications and everything. So it was then when I transitioned to this company where I am like right now. And then I started as a technical content writer. So therein my role involved to, work on the UI, UX part of products, work more on the content. That being said, I have contributed or written over 150 blogs till date, like SEO focused blogs. I've written user guides, like knowledge bases of the products and the Figma content that goes around. And slowly with time, when I started understanding the whole funnel, the whole business cycle, how things actually work, what is a product actually, what does it do, how we are helping manage the end solution, covering the end challenge of those around, like of the merchants, how we are bridging the gap, how we are enabling them sell better, diversify themselves, help them sell better from any corner of the world, help them sell seamlessly on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and other marketplaces. So that's where I dwelled into the product part as well, wherein I started, taking care of all the 360 marketing of the product that we have right now, including the organic and the inorganic part of it. And yeah, that's how it all went actually. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And so I'd love to talk to you more about marketing as well, because that is my background. That's kind of what I did before I went back to graduate school. And part of me, when I got into graduate school, wanted to put that away, wanted to sort of say, okay, that's like my old chapter. Now I'm starting a new chapter. And I started with urban planning, and then that led me into GIS, which led me into coding, which led me into AI/ML and cybersecurity, and sort of started on this technical path. And yet, when I did things like the Women Developers Academy, that was a public speaking course. And so often I'm in rooms with fellow technologists who are not nearly as comfortable speaking and presenting and writing and creating as we are. And it's such an important skill. And I'm finding that in the cybersecurity mentorship program that we're doing, because we're an awareness campaign and an awareness mentorship, and we're wanting to get involved with the things that are coming up in October as Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And with that, I'm really wanting to encourage people to embrace their inner marketer, their inner creator, their inner advocate. You are a top voice on LinkedIn. And to find that voice, because it doesn't matter the industry we're in, every industry needs advocates and needs people who are willing to lead and have a voice. and share. And then that voice gives us other opportunities that we would have never been able to create if not for being visible.
Definitely. Plus, I would also like to add the combination of tech and marketing is huge in itself. So, I mean that really gives you a whole new experience as well. And talking about only on the marketing side, as you said, I mean, great to hear that you come from a similar background, and it's actually fun to work on every single piece when okay, there is a persona you are working for. I mean, there's an audience sitting behind it. It's not only just the screen that you're focusing on, like when you're preparing a social media content, or when you're preparing a blog post, or when you are writing that technical documentation, that there are real humans who are going to read it, and you need to cater to their challenges, you need to cater to their problems in the real world, out in the real world. So it's actually fun when you are having a one-on-one convo with the client, or with a person. I mean, for those 30 or 45 minutes, you're not considering that person to be your client. Instead, you're trying to delve more into that personality, you're getting to know them, you're trying to understand like where do they get stuck, and the kind of perspective that you get to hear from them. So it all actually sums up into I would say into great thing altogether. I mean, the kind of content you'll produce, or the way you're going to have a discussion with your team members next, like, okay, this is the roadmap we need to move on, or okay, this is how we shall, this should be our next step, and uh, go ahead with that particular thing. Yeah.
Well, and I love that you're saying that, because I think that that's a really important part of marketing. Is it's much about working with the client as it is working with the public and working with the customer, and really being part of that, again, communication cycle. Because if you're in UI UX, you're listening, you're understanding where people are finding value and use from this product and potential to solve problems, and where they're getting stuck and where it's not landing, and how things potentially with the product continue to be evolved.
That's where you need to get into the shoe of the customer, and then take those points into consideration even when you are designing that particular product. Let's say it's a software product that's helping you sell online, or or to say it's a cosmetic or anything as such. You firstly need to understand like what they are looking forward to, like what would somebody, what is it that they want exactly, right? At the end of the day, it's not that you put in all very gloomy words, you bring out a great marketing campaign, and then it's like at the end of the day it's all like boom, it didn't work. And at times, like for product A something could work, and for product B the same idea could not work. So it differs, like what it, like there are so many so many factors which are equally important. I mean, I agree 100% with what you have said. Like it's the time of the launch. I mean, when are you launching your product? I mean, you cannot, for example, let's say here in India, like there's the sunscreen that's very high selling product. But let's say it's winters and you are launching a new sunscreen. So I don't think it is going to drive you revenue as compared to if you would have launched that sunscreen during summers, right? And then there are so many effective ways of pulling your marketing game ahead. I mean, the time of the launch, the kind of packaging you are doing, maybe you can play around something with the aroma of the product, and so on and so forth. The kind of influencers you are inviting on the table, the kind of efforts you're doing in house and out house, both at the same time. I mean, you could, I mean, today's it's the digital era. You're free to invite people, those who can give you a free shout out on Instagram, on other channels, and so on. So there are so many things. It's just not the marketing. I mean, it's just not the team, the internal team efforts. There are other factors as well, which equally are responsible for the success or the failure of a product. Yeah. Exactly. So I think I really found this very intriguing when you said when you know the context, and when you know contexted clients. I mean, when it's not just, as I mentioned earlier, spoke earlier also, that when we are doing things, because we are all mostly doing remotely, so it's not just the screen that's doing the work. I mean, it's not your laptop, it's not your phone who you're creating the campaigns. It's more of important to understand that there's a real person behind, for who the effort is being made, and you really need to get into their shoe. You need to understand their mind, and you need to make them feel special, right? You need to make them feel important. So let's say I have this coffee mug, and I am working with this utensils company, or I there is this tote bag. So I need to get into the shoe of the potential buyer there, right? And I need to again understand, like, what she or he might be looking into, or what is that they would want to hear. And number two, again, coming to the ambassadors part, obviously, I mean, it's been a great platform, and I think, and it's actually good to see these days. I mean, with the advent of the women, the WDAs, I mean, the women developer academies and everything, how they are promoting everything all together, the part of marketing, the part of content, when, like, part of core developer skills, AI, ML, and everything. So it's really great to know that, yeah, I mean, when you talk about a product, it's not just the code, or it's not just the selling part. In fact, there's 360 thing attached to it, from the very conceptualization of the product, to the roadmap creation, to the development, to the marketing, like everything, the 360 funnel of a product. That's what matters, and that is something that I guess this ambassador program helps us understand very better, because it gives us the opportunity to connect with similar minds. It gives us the platform to speak and understand, and kind of, so let's say I have a confusion regarding something. I could quickly go in and connect with somebody and discuss it from the WTM uh, network, and I could get that resolved,
Mm-hmm.
which was earlier not possible for me, because I mean, the kind of exposure that we get and everything, so that's quite recommendable. And I views and everything, the testimonials, which are which will do the work for you, which will speak everything for you. And so that's absolutely important. I would say that that's mandatory part, and if you want to survive and thrive in today's ecosystem. And also talking about the print and media, and the digital landscape. So I think personally speaking, I think digital is on a boom. So web, I mean, and it's a good idea. I mean, so let's say I want to learn about something, and I'll simply go on YouTube, or I'll simply type into the search engine, what is this, or what is XYZ, or explain me XYZ, and then there'll be thousands of videos coming up, webinars related to it, podcasts coming about it. We have so many blogs around them, and uh, things like these. So I mean, I would again like to connect the WTM ambassador, I mean, Women Tech Makers Ambassador thing here. I mean, it gives us a plus platform again on the same at the same time, that we are, we don't need to be dependent on any XYZ uh, publication, or channel, or agency, to promote us. So this is somewhere you can absolutely go on and promote your skills, do your work, do the work for you. Just as if we take the example of this podcast right now, or like I happen to have a channel, something that I started, and it's so good to see that people are kind of, it's the reason I love the digital era is you can start anywhere from the globe. You do not need to have a fancy, space. All you need is a laptop and a Wi-Fi, like a connected internet. That's all you got to have. And uh, you boom, like you free to create content out there, and bring it out. I mean, take the help, all that you need. Create testimonials, create content, whichever format that you want. that you're looking forward to, and just go ahead with it. Yeah. Also, coming back to my ambassador programs, and as you mentioned, so yeah, so Women Tech Makers happen to be my first ambassador ship, or I would say ambassador badge as well. And it's like programs like these ones, get something into hand, and then you like you get so habitual. It's like you're eating your favorite candy, and then it's like, need it more, you need more and more, kind of same thing. So the craving doesn't go. So that was when I started looking for other programs as well, and other kind of, wherein I could be a fit, or what all places I am kind of active at. And then so that led me to be a GTM ambassador, your go-to market ambassador, with GTM partners. And other than that, I happen to be a Grammarly ambassador as well. Grammarly, I'm sure, is so such a famous tool, and though I am not sponsoring them, I'm not kind of promoting them, but yeah, like it happens to be a lifesaver tool, despite all the AI tools that we have today for content generation, for brand voice, helping you create that particular tone for your brand and everything. So it's such a lifesaver. So it's again to be connected and to be recognized as a Grammarly ambassador. Other than that, I happen to be an I Am Remarkable facilitator as well, and which is something that I am equally proud of, along with my other badges, wherein, because it gives me the platform to connect with so many women, and underrepresented groups, and talk about your so many inspiring stories that makes me an advocate for everyone around, for me, and that gives me the inspiration, to carry on with life no matter what it throws at you. Uh, and because when you talk to those people, you see that, okay, there's so much happening in this world, and then look at these sunshines, like how nicely they have gloomed, and they have again, reshaped themselves and everything. So yeah, that's all the part of programs I am in. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to comment on a couple things there. First of all, total shout out to Grammarly. I love Grammarly. As a graduate student, we use Grammarly all the time. We do get a complimentary subscription through our school, which I appreciate, but it is a subscription I will joyfully pay for upon finishing school because it is so useful all of the time. It sends me wonderful emails that capture my tone, and it tells me if I'm being confident, direct, inspiring, uh, all sorts of things that, and then the not so good ones too, or neutral, or discouraged, or whatever it is. It captures tone, and it will sort of show you how your tone is sort of shifting over time. Another part of it is it counts your words, and I have, in the time I've been in graduate school, written over 11 million words that it has analyzed. I've probably written more than 11 million because I don't always have it toggled on. But when it's been toggled on, those are the number of words it's analyzed. And the other thing, too, is not recommending, do not cheat. Don't recommend cheating. But we do use AI, and there are ways in which schools are sort of like, use it, don't use it. And the school really encourages Grammarly. They say, use Grammarly. And Grammarly has great AI tools, where some classes are like, don't use ChatGPT, don't touch it. And so Grammarly can still help you with a lot of those AI assists, and you're not breaking any boundaries.
I mean, it's that support for you that you need, just to beautify your word, and not something that GPT or Gemini or these tools are doing exactly for you. Like, help me write 1,000-word essay for me. So what we as professionals, what do? We seek them as a helping hand. We don't, copy paste and then, share it ahead, because it's not going to work anyways if we're doing that way, because there's a clear difference between the human voice and something that comes AI generated, right? So there's clear difference. You cannot connect with the emotions. You cannot place that story in the way that you want. You cannot connect with somebody's emotions. So I would say that's where we never know. I haven't seen the future. That's but till date, AI lacks that. And talking about Grammarly, yeah, the kind of analytics it gives you, like, okay, towards the end of the week, or towards the end of the month, that these are the words, these many words you have worked upon. Then we're doing things collaboratively in a team, and then we get to see the reports, and we get to see the kind of the templates that are already there, and the kind of help that comes in. It's all it happens in a jiffy. It's extension, like Grammarly's extension. It helps you, like, you just put it in your browser, and then it's helping you write faster emails, as you mentioned. You're working on a Word document, and it is giving you suggestions just out of nowhere. So it's the helping hand, I would say. I mean, something that before 2-3 years we used to do, like, I prefer calling Grammarly and these AI tools as my, next bench colleague,
Yes,
who I used to refer things. Okay, hey, could you quickly proofread it for me? Hey, could you just give it an eye and let me know that how does it sound, or how are there any loopholes to it, or is there any gap? Are you am I is it the perfect piece? So I think these tools are helping us get that help from that friend.
absolutely. And the other thing I want to ask you about with that is, so you sparked a couple of ideas when you had said that, because the Grammarly was one. I just wanted to sort of stop and say, I love Grammarly. We use Grammarly. I'm happy to advocate for Grammarly. It's a great tool, and I recommend, if you don't use it, check it out. It's been very useful. Obviously, you're on that team as well. The I think there's another conversation which I'd like to get to next. But let me ask what I was going to say, which is further into Gemini and ChatGPT and how we can use that as we create. But I want to just talk a little bit more specifically about I Am Remarkable, because I'm asking many of our mentees to sign up for some of the upcoming I Am Remarkable sessions. I've got 2 on the books right now that I'm saying, hey, everybody, do this. It's recommended, endorsed. And if you could just sort of speak to that to kind of back me up on why someone might want to attend an I Am Remarkable session, and just sort of for everybody who's listening, an I Am Remarkable session, it's 90 minutes, it's free. It's sponsored by Women Techmaker Ambassadors. It's led by certified facilitators. And I did it, and I found that it was very worthwhile. I understand why it has such a great reputation. And you just kind of leave feeling so much better about yourself. That's my view, and really empowered, and really get that click of like, oh yeah, okay, this all makes sense now.
Exactly, yeah. And plus to everything that you said, it comes from a certified facilitator in everything. Well, I happen to be a platinum facilitator now. So, like, I think I've hosted over, I don't really recall the numbers, but I would say plus 25 or something. Or I mean, I have crossed the platinum. I mean, I don't know, it could be 30 or something. I'm not sure of the numbers. Anyways, what's the plus now is that they are also offering you certificates. So let's say you're attending an I Am Remarkable session, which has just come. I mean, last week it has been announced. Last week we received the email from I Am Remarkable, like, which was sent to certain facilitators, that they're also now giving you a certificate when you attend the session. I mean, something that came from so many of the attendees, from so many of the participants, that if we could get a certificate, so you can now show the world that, okay, you did attend a 90 minutes I Am Remarkable workshop, and the world knows what you're taking with you post attending the workshop, right? So, and as I mentioned earlier, I mean, it's my absolute personal favorite thing to be part of, and I am absolutely proud. I mean, in fact, I am I mean, I'm beyond words to explain that. Like, I feel myself very lucky to be a part of such program, wherein, as I was saying, I mean, you get to hear so many stories, and then at the moment when you feel low and everything, and then you see, look at these people, how they are thriving. And if just for all our listeners today, so if you're someone who want that push, that little push in your life, or you feel that you're somewhere lost, or you cannot speak, or you cannot speak your mind, or you're too shy, or you are not free to bring out what you have in your mind, maybe in your workplace, in your family, or within your friends. So I think this will be the perfect place for you, the perfect workshop for you to attend, and to understand why promoting yourself happens to be one key thing that you must do. Because life is not always about praising others. We should take a moment and reflect within ourselves, and we should be happy and proud for who we are, at and give some time to us, praise us. I mean, we all of us have heard, like, okay, let's I mean, this author writes such great books, or so and so Mr. XYZ is such a great chef, but we never happen to say, okay, hey, I am such a great dancer, or hey, I am such a good sketcher. So the whole idea of I am remarkable is to ignite the ignite the thing that you have, make yourself special, bring out what you want to speak, what you want to say it out loud into the world. So if you're someone who has issues with making your point, so this is going to be the perfect spot for you to come and open yourself. And yeah, whatever gets discussed in the workshop, it's all very I would say it's all very private in nature. Nothing comes out. So yeah, I mean, it's highly confidential, and it's highly empowering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And this is who I am, and this is what I could do. And if I am having an obstacle, I'm facing certain situation, this is how I'm going to come up. This is how I'm going to bounce back. So it's the kind of positive aura that you get, that you leave the workshop with. Exactly. And especially when you are showing something related to tech, it is going to be such a lifesaver, because usually people have the stereotype that you're coming from a tech background. Okay, let it be. I mean, I'm not talking about the people from technical background. I'm talking the non-tech,
Yeah.
about the non-tech people. And they're like, okay, or even if you're showing them a product or something, okay, please, can you remove that? Just tell me the simple language. I'm not going to put in my head to it. I'm not going to have so much thought about it, right? So especially when you are teaching, or when you are mentoring, or when you are talking to certain group of people about anything that technical, and in those easy words, so you're the star of the room anyhow. So when I say star of the room, it's that people actually thank you from the bottom of their heart. Okay, it was this simple. I thought, I mean, what rocket science this is going to be. So this is what I think the role of mentoring, or as you say, like, and I think you're a great teacher, obviously. That's the beauty of it. So yeah. And I think all of us have been there at some point of a life. I mean, you need to take a starting step somewhere, right? And frankly speaking, I was there once. And with the advent of these communities like I Am Remarkable and WTM Ambassador program, and these wonderful opportunities that we have, I would say creating content has become easy. But if I go back into the time, and I think the very first content that I had created, I was very skeptical about me. Like, okay, what are the people going to talk about me? Or let everything be aside. If I am in a meeting room and I am in my early stage of my career, I'll feel that, okay, who am I? Just as you were mentioning, that why should I give certain suggestion to particular conversation that's going in, or in the meeting room full of seniors, why should I speak, or why should I give my suggestion? Or maybe that people will not consider my opinion first, because there are other seniors in the room. So I think each of us have somewhere down the line faced this situation. And talking about the confidence, I would say, and talking about how to get started, I would say just start wherever you are, which I've just said. All you need is a laptop and a Wi-Fi, and the thing that is that you are interested into. It could be a simple it could be a simple two-liner post. It's just treat it as your Facebook or Instagram, wherein you are you are just posting something for your connections, for your followers. So the same thing you have to come up and do into the professional space, I would say, or uh, or into the world out there, without that imposter syndrome. And it is so, as we say, you have to be your own advocate. So it is the first person you need to fight with is you and your brain and your thoughts. Like, you need to let that second thought go, like, okay, how is the world going to respond to my blog post, or how are they going to respond to my, for let's say somebody built something, something using Gemini or something like that, some cool app, and they don't want to let the world know about it. But then I would say, why not? Even if that's not 100% of what it should be, just bring it out into the world. You may be connected, you might get connected with 100 different people with the same background who could help you, and years down the line you could be somebody else. So I think the golden, I would say, the golden law or something, the rule that would go is like, just start without much thinking. That okay, because uh, the very first podcast and the 100th podcast, there's always a difference. Like, the way you start, and with the 100th podcast, now that you have become an expert of it, so the journey, the whole hard work, that's what makes you a real expert, I would say, uh, and master of your field. So just take all the help that you have, like from the internet, from your people, and just let's just deep dive in, and don't let the other thoughts drive you crazy, or create that friction, or stop you from doing what is supposed to be done. Yeah. I mean, if that's one product that you have built, and you want the world, and you're shy about bringing it out to the world, why to why to invest so much of thought and think about it? Like, you never know, you haven't seen the future, right? So just keep on doing, as they say, like, just keep doing the karma and don't think about the results. So just do whatever is coming your way with the flow, and whatever would be the best will come back to you. Again, going on, let's say you don't have followers and things like that, start with your people, start with your friends, and let them help you spread the word out. And it's not, I mean, there's no guarantee of anything, but you never know which video, which blog, which podcast of your might turn out to be a hit, right? Because you can't expect success with very first content of yours, be it of any form. It could be video, it could be a short teaser or something. So I would also like to add that consistency is something that pays off. So just go on with the flow, with that kind determination and that consistency. Yeah. And be patient. Yeah. Your time will
Yeah.
come, everybody's time come. That's what I feel.
Yeah, warm up, like, how do I loosen up? How do I prepare for this? And so one of the ways for me is I play a lot on social media. I kind of got the idea that you do too. We kind of look and say, like, what are people talking about? What are their questions? What do they want to know? And I'll get involved and I'll reply helpfully, as honestly, authentically, and helpfully as I can to various Facebook groups that I'm in, like, for example, around cybersecurity beginners, or that's like a lot of those. And then, like, other things that are sort of more, I would say, culturally that are happening, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn. You just go to the places where people are talking about the things that you are interested in and you may know a little bit about, and see what the questions are. Because I can even think about right now a few graduates who graduated from online bachelor's programs. And in the United States, I want to celebrate online bachelor programs because they're so rare and they're so needed for mid-career people who just didn't get the bachelor in the traditional way, and then realize for one reason or other, like, hey, maybe it's a good idea to go back, and can't move their family to go live at a college campus. Like, that's just not going to work for them in their 30s. So online, or any age really, I mean, it just, and so, but I see those questions all the time. Like, where can I go get a cybersecurity bachelor's? Well, I know a few people who can answer that question. And so I think sometimes you can warm up by just going through these feeds and getting in there and just doing small responses and seeing the response to your responses. You'll start getting, thank you, that was helpful, I appreciate that. And then you might sort of see a trend and be like, oh, okay, I see the blog post. And you can now be writing it to these people as opposed to your friends. And friends can be hard because sometimes our friends can kind of judge us more sometimes, and they're not as supportive as we'd like them to be. That sometimes speaking to absolute strangers is better, especially if you have value to add to those strangers.
Yeah. Plus one, plus one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely resonate with you with the point that not everybody is know it all, and there are people who know less than you, and obviously there are people who know more than you. So it's always a good idea to, because you don't know. I mean, even if I am, if so we see so many cooking videos on Instagram, right? And other channels as well. So there are people who are coming up with absolute basic recipes, and there are so many views on their content, so many comments appraising those videos. So there are people, I mean, this world is so big, and I mean, let's take the advantage of the digitalization, and just keep popping the content. And you never know when you are meeting or hitting the right set of people. And as you mentioned about communities and Facebook groups, so absolutely they happen to be a big deal. I would recommend, like, if you're starting up, or if even if you are in the running, just happen to join certain LinkedIn groups, be active on Reddit, because I believe Reddit is whole well of so much of communication. I mean, you get to see people's perspective, you get to hear so much from them. You should read the comments. Basically, I think the best place is the comments. That's where the real talk is happening, the real conversations are taking place, and that's where you can pick up the scoop for your content and bring it ahead. And number two would be we have AI today. Just go and put in everything, and it's like quicking the work for you. Like, everything is coming up in a jiffy. So all you need to say, like, all you need to do is, pick up the correct sources, bring it all to AI, and AI does the work for you, beautify it, and publish it. That's all that's required today. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of that, so I use the paid version of ChatGPT, which has the little paperclip where you can add files. And being able to do that has been fabulous because I can add screenshots. So if I'm working through a technical issue, take a screenshot and say, hey, help me. But if I'm writing a blog post or something, I can take the source material, I can upload it, I can give it examples of sort of templates of make it look like this, my voice, my tone, and then we can evolve it together very quickly. I can tell it, do I want a more narrative style, more bullet points, or take a section and say, hey, let's put this in bullet points. There's so much you can do. And it's not that you're asking it to write it for you. It's really you're asking it to write it with you. And if you use it as that assistant, that collaborator, to me, it's amazing how quickly you can move through content.
Exactly. You could just give it prompts like, okay, give help me with a storytelling approach, use bullets as you mentioned, use some of the recent data, and then boah, you have the data right in front of you. You don't need to hop on to different websites to get the recent stats and data. If something that, if you want to create that, I would say, that build that trust for your readers. So it's all game of a few prompts. And even if you, like, if somebody wants help with AI prompts, I think there are so many free tools, free resources available today, that you could simply go in and type in, and you could get so many results across YouTube, across different blog posts, even LinkedIn. People share so much of cheat codes and all of these prompts for AI, for GPT, for Gemini, and all these such tools. So yeah, I think the only one who's stopping you from doing something is you. And I think you being the audience today, so you really need to overcome that thought and just come into the action. And that is something that is going to give you the result come into the action with consistency, a proper dedication, and you have everything that you need. So go for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think within that, there's another sort of piece of that is will and desire. And the
Yeah.
will is, you want to, you're going to sort of, you're willing to fight for it. There's that inner core, there's that inner strength. But the desire is sort of the heart and the glow and the aura of it. And that sort of attracts, because when you have will and desire, what you start to find, because you then start looking for things, you then start seeing opportunities that you didn't even know were there. And I think that's one thing I've gotten very good at, is seeing opportunities out of the corner of my eye. And where I really kind of hit my limit was I don't have enough time anymore to do all these things until I finish some other things, and then I can take on the next level. And with that, I now find joy in sharing those opportunities with other people, because I see opportunity everywhere. If anything, I've become an opportunity hunter, because there's so much out there. So it's not only are you stopping you, but as soon as you unstop you, you then realize like how much is out there and how many people actively want to pull you forward if you let them. You have to set boundaries to, what your time it allows, aligning it with what you've already set as your own intentions. But once you sort of see that those match, it's amazing. So for me, like I have in the sort of professional realm kind of put geospatial, AIML, and cybersecurity as kind of my foundation. Like those are the things that I want to do, and things that kind of are in that scheme. And like being a Women Techmakers Ambassador, they invited us to be Google Cloud Digital Leaders. I went and got that certification. And at the same time, through my Women in Cybersecurity, I was invited to do what they call the ISC squared certified in cybersecurity. They had a 1/3 overlap between what you need to know for cloud about security, and in security, what you need to know about cloud. And now we're being invited to do the certified or the professional, it's certified professional cloud architect launchpad program. So I'm doing that one now. And it's like, that's not something I would have necessarily pursued, but it was introduced to me. It was invited. It was offered. It's in my strategic plan of like, hey, yeah, that fits the AML. It crosses into geospatial, crosses into cybersecurity. These are the tech skills that do make sense. And the fact that because there's this momentum that's larger than myself pulling me forward. And that is, to me, that's like the secret sauce. Like that's the thing that I don't think people realize. I think they're this like, oh, do I just have to keep grinding? Does it all need to be me? And it's like, no, there's a certain point. It's like the power of air. Air feels invisible. If I wave my hand right now, I really don't feel anything, maybe just a minor little breeze. But an airplane flies because the weight of air is massive. And I remember my first and only time skydiving, I fell out of a plane and realized that I did not feel a sensation of falling. I only felt the sensation of being held up by the air.
Definitely. And I think that's the power, and that's the beauty of, to bring it here, of creating content and coming out into the world and grabbing the opportunity, or I would say seizing the opportunity.
Yes, because that's the thing, is when you create this content, not only are you helping others, not only are you helping yourself, not only are you creating visibility, but somebody is now going to invite an opportunity to you that you may have not considered, or you're going to build a connection that later has some way of building. Because even if that connection invites another connection because they say, oh, you know someone I know, or that person posts something about an opportunity that you say, oh, I'll raise my hand for that. But you would have never known that if you weren't connected to those people.
Definitely. And you never know who's going to vouch for you. Like, okay, hey, let's say I am a college grad, or I'm a college student, and I'm struggling with something, and I found your content, and I'll vouch for you with 5 different friends of mine. Like, let's say we're having a group study or something, and that's where your visibility is growing. So yeah, that's a plus for you. Like, I mean, that's a plus for the content that I am creating, because
Yes.
yeah, I never know how many people I'm going to help at the end of the day. Yeah.
And also even helping yourself, because I also feel like when an employer is looking at a resume, and they're looking at 2 equal tech skills, and they see one person also has emerging leadership communication skills, I think that that's going to be the better choice. If
Yeah.
they're on par for everything else technically, the person who also has and shows that they're willing to do the presentation, to speak up, to build bridges, is going to be the person who ultimately is someone who has the potential to be more successful on a team.
Get that. Definitely, yeah. Because you're helping yourself, and given the competition out there, and given the kind of diversified I would say personality that somebody is looking forward to in today's world. So you really need to stand out from the crowd, and all of this is shaping you beforehand, and then you are shaping others. So it's, you're doing double calls out there, and which is good in every way. So yeah.
Yeah. And also, just tying this all back together, one of the things that I really encourage, and I'm encouraging a lot of our ambassadors to do the NICE, which is part of NIST, cybersecurity career ambassador roles, is because there's so much power in borrowed credibility. When you get to partner with some of these biggest brands and biggest companies on the planet, and you're not an employee, you're not even a contractor,
Yeah.
but they vouch for you and you vouch for them. And so you have this sympathetic relationship where a lot of people have this idea like, oh, if you're good enough for them, you're good enough for us.
Definitely. I remember this, like this one of the consultation calls that I was giving with, like, I mean, I was having with somebody from Google itself, and they wanted to know about Gen Z, and how marketing really affects to them, and how you can, get a hold of them, and how you can create campaigns for them, how you can bring in the influencer marketing approach and everything. And it was to say, I mean, it's not that I am working directly for Google, or it's not that I am it's not that I am a contractual employee or something, but just because they somewhere found through me, through my profile or something, because they know that I am active in this space, and then they reached me out, and they considered me, okay, that okay, I am somebody who can help them there. Also, another example, last week, I remember last Wednesday, I was having again another one-on-one session, wherein I was interviewing one of the YC founders, and they are building something similar to AI assistants. I mean, autopilot and AI note takers. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us using that these days. And so now that's how I think we are building connections, and at the same time, yeah, you're letting the network, the connection do the work for you, because at the end of the day, you're not working directly for them, but then yeah, that's something that you're doing good and great for them. Yeah.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. Yeah. Just go with the flow, and don't think of the results. Yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, don't think of the results in the micro, but it's or too much. Oh, yeah, you can't really control content. It's going to do what it does. But I think the idea I want to just add to that is do know why you're doing it, which is if my goal is I'm trying to get employed, I'm trying to get a job. Therefore, I'm feeling like there's a gap between where I am and my position. I'm putting myself out there because I am asking for help in getting connection to the right position. So having, again, this brings it back to authenticity. So knowing why is totally okay. Or I just started my first job, but I don't know how long it's going to last. And I want to make sure I get hired quickly. And I want to make sure that I'm showing the industry that I'm valuable and that I have some insights and I have some passion and I'm part of solving this problem. And so I want to create content because I want to just kind of create that job security, maybe either within my own company or that I am visible so that if I'm looking for another job, I've just made it much easier for myself. So I think also there is a sense of like, don't be attached, but there's a little bit of do know why you are doing it. Like, what is your underlying thing that this is how to help you accomplish?
I mean, when I say that go with the flow or don't think about the results, So this is something that I am saying, so that you're just starting out and you are not sure, like, you don't need to get depressed, or you don't need to, feel low that if something is not working out. Let's say I am creating content and I'm not getting the visibility I should get. So everything comes, because it's all the game of long run. Like, you need to be consistent, and wherein you're like, absolutely correct that we need to know why. Whether it could be because I am looking for a job change, or I am looking for some help in that space. Again, because let's say if I am starting to create content today, I cannot expect something to happen. Like, I cannot expect things to change overnight, right? So I just when I'm starting, I would say, just when I'm starting, I would like to give it some time, knowing my whys, because at the end of the day, I'm saying that, let's say I started creating content with the hope, or with the idea that I want to have a job change, I want to get a job change. But that could not work within weeks, right? It could take months. So even if it is not working in the present, or it is not working now, a time will come when things are going to work in your favor. So that's when I would say that you have to be determined, you have to have that willpower, as you mentioned earlier. You have to have that willpower, you have to maintain that consistency, because eventually it's like exercise. You cannot shed, or you cannot gain weight within a couple of days, right? It is something that needs a regular practice. You need to exercise continuously if you want to shed weight, or if you want to put up weight. So it is something that would require consistency and equal efforts, and someday it is going to pay you off. So yeah, definitely, that's what I want to put up. Like, a why is important, and consistency and determination again is important. Yeah.
Absolutely. You speak to my heart because I have come from this background and now I'm sort of putting it back together, having kind of filled in the middle with some of these technical skills that I'm excited to continue to develop. And so I'm just so joyful that I've now found this really
I mean,
good.
if I take this example, because I just got reminded of from your story. So let's take the example of actors, because if we see right when they are starting, in the not every actor is as successful during their rising time, right? I would say it's the mid age, when they hit their mid age, that's when they become a tycoon, or the star that they are known for. So and then they have rubbed themselves for the years, right? Or they have attended so many workshops, so they've given so many movies, they've given so many TV commercials, they've given us so many shows and everything, and years after we're starting to recognize them. Or I mean, this is not in everybody's case, but I would say, I mean, there's no particular roadmap or a template for such things. So you need to keep experimenting things with yourself. You never know what might work for you. But yeah, uh, kind of not getting too emotional with the results. And yeah, you should just keep doing it. Yeah.
Yes.
Because yeah, I mean, even if I'm not getting my results then and there, I mean, I am at least helping people, right? So like, when I'm contributing to answers over LinkedIn or something, I mean, it's I won't say it's not doing me any good, because at the end of, because when I'm seeing like 5 likes on one answer, and those 5 people are completely new, I know that, okay, this answer has been surfaced to so many people, and these 5 people really connected with these answers. So if I'm sleeping, I get the thought, okay, I actually somewhere contributed in some format to those 5 people. And then when I'm getting replies, or when I'm getting comments on those answers, so I am actually feeling that, okay, people are recognizing that the effort that I am putting, or I am kind of helping them in some or the other way. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, when we all look at the numbers of within social media, they don't seem as real as physical numbers. Because if you say a certain number of people liked my post or showed up at my party, like, okay, you have your party at your house, like, you're 10 people show up and you're having like 15 people, and yet we get 10 or 15 likes, and we're like, oh, that's nothing. And so the idea of 50,000 those are massive stadiums. Like,
Yeah,
so to
I
really just
yeah.
kind of give context to it, that, you know, the social media numbers, sometimes we don't think about, like, those are still real people.
Yeah, and I would say, why fall for the numbers? I mean, those are the algos. I mean, the algorithms run by these channels. So why fall for the numbers? I mean, you could start with as good as 20 followers or as good as 100 followers. You don't really need to have 1.9 million followers to start with something, right? Because creating content will take you to that stage, right? If I imagine to start up an Instagram account with 2 billion followers, how am I going to get in those 2 billion followers without creating any content? So I'll have to start creating the content. I'll have to start from zero, and that's how I'll reach 0 to 10, 10 to 100, 500,000, 1k, 2k, and that's how I'll reach that number. So yeah.
Well, also, I'm much more comfortable personally starting with zero. Give me a fresh account. Give me a new account. Because if you just handed me an account that had 2 million followers and said, go create content for our account, and I don't know what
Over
these
the
people like, and suddenly, like, a bunch of them unsubscribe, they unfollow, or they send me hate mail because they're really not happy with what I've delivered. I'd rather start from zero, because we grow together. We learn about each other together, and the right people will be there. And so as you grow, you know, like, oh, I've cultivated an audience that wants to be there. They know who I am authentically. They know the content that I deliver. They know the topic that I talk about, and they've chosen to be here. And we've evolved over time together. And that, to me,
and
is more valuable.
and it's a family that we have created together. So,
Yeah.
and they would love to see you every day on I mean, whichever form you're creating the
Yeah.
content. Would love to hear from you, let's say every Friday or every Tuesday or every once in a month. So I mean, those people, they're looking forward to you, that okay, hey, we'll get something from her. So that's it. And yeah, I would again say, like, don't fall for the numbers. I mean, what's the need? I mean, I would say, if 10 people turn up to my house for some party or for some workshop, and I feel, and they feel connected with me, I think that is a better show for me, than rather than having 1,000 people at some odd conference where I am not able to connect with even five of them by the end of the day, right? Because that's what happens. I mean, recently, I would say 21st of July, there was some conference. I mean, yeah, there was some conference, and I went, and we had the mixer event, the community mixer event, which actually gives you the space and time to, connect one on one, where you're not talking work, but you're actually talking who you are, and you get to talk about things, and you get connected. And then the other day, when you're meeting those people, so even if I came back making five useful connections, that's a win for me, right? In a crowd full of 1,000, 1,200 people, whom I cannot resonate with everybody, because I don't have that amount of time. So yeah, I mean, don't fall for the numbers. It's all about the genuine connections. So it's just as same as, let's say, I am sending a webinar email to tons of my subscribers, to 5k or 10k subscribers, and hardly 30 or 40 of them turn up during the webinar. So those 30 or 40 are going to be my prime, connections, or my prime conversions, I would say. And those are the people who are going to vouch for me, and I'm going to vouch for them as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And it does build. If you just keep showing up with consistency, with value, it does build. And so, but yeah, any of that beginning numbers, I actually feel like the lower the number, the less you have to be afraid. Just go for
Yeah.
it. There's nobody watching. It's
Yeah.
like, you get to experiment, you get to try things, you get to find your voice. And that, to me, is so fabulous. And like, I feel like being here, and as we develop the podcast, finding my voice has been through Women Techmakers Ambassadors. And I'm just so happy that you've been able to join me here today.
Just to give a quick summary of what we have discussed today, I mean, just keep the zeal on. Don't let the stereotype or imposter syndrome or things or any XYZ thought hamper your mind. Just go with the flow, do whatever you want to do without do all the good things, whatever you want to do. See how you could help people. And for all those who want to come into tech, I would like to say, I mean, this is no rocket science, because at the end of the day, it's us humans who are doing things. And it's great to have platforms like this, which gives the opportunity to everybody. And I hope we'll be able to inspire certain of our listeners, and keep it going. I mean, such a wonderful thing you're doing. So I would love to have you on my show sometime by the name of Coffee and Commerce. I'll be shooting you email maybe in months or so, and we might get something again for people out there.